The rain pounded the streets of New York City like a relentless accusation, turning the gutters into rivers of forgotten dreams. In the shadow of towering skyscrapers, where the elite sipped champagne in penthouses, Alex Harlan stood frozen under a flickering street lamp, his tailored suit soaked through. He had just walked out of a boardroom where his family's billion-dollar tech empire hung by a thread, and in a moment of sheer desperation, he turned to the homeless man huddled against the wall and said, "Marry me. I need a husband to save my inheritance." Jake Riley blinked up at him, his eyes sharp despite the grime and exhaustion etched into his face. He was no stranger to the city's cruelty, having survived on scraps and shadows for years, but this proposition from a stranger reeking of privilege was a new low, or perhaps a twisted high. "You're insane?" Jake muttered, wiping rain from his brow. But something in Alex's frantic gaze held him there, a spark of vulnerability that mirrored his own hidden scars. Alex had always known his life was a carefully constructed facade. As the heir to Harlan Tech, a company that revolutionized AI-driven security systems, he was expected to embody perfection. Straight, successful, and scandal-free. But at 32, he was none of those things. His father, Victor Harlan, a conservative titan with deep ties to political lobbies, had stipulated in his will that Alex must marry within a year of his death to inherit full control, or watch the empire crumble under boardroom vultures. Victor had passed 6 months ago, and Alex's secret life as a gay man had become an unbearable weight. Proposals to women felt like betrayals to his soul, and now, in this downpour, he saw a loophole. Marry a man, fulfill the letter of the will, and deal with the fallout later. Jake, meanwhile, wasn't just any drifter. At 28, he had once been Jacob Ellis, the prodigal son of Senator Elias Ellis, a vocal opponent of LGBTQ rights who preached family values from podiums across the Midwest. Jake had fled that life 5 years ago after his father discovered his sexuality and disowned him in a rage-fueled confrontation that left emotional bruises deeper than any physical wound. Living on the streets had hardened him, teaching him to trust no one, especially not the wealthy who viewed the homeless as props for their guilt or games. Yet, as Alex extended a hand, offering a wad of cash just to hear him out, Jake felt a flicker of curiosity, or was it recklessness? "What's in it for me?" he asked, his voice steady despite the chill. They ducked into a nearby diner, the kind with sticky booths and coffee that tasted like regret. Alex laid it out plainly. A sham marriage for 6 months, enough to secure the inheritance, then a quiet divorce with Jake walking away rich. No strings, no expectations, Alex promised, his blue eyes pleading. But Jake saw the cracks. The way Alex's hands trembled slightly, the subtle glance at his lips that betrayed more than desperation. Jake had learned to read people. Survival depended on it. "And if I say no?" he probed. Alex shrugged, but his face paled. "Then I lose everything my family built." Jake agreed that night, not out of pity but calculation. The money could get him off the streets, maybe even start over. They signed a hasty prenup in Alex's lawyer's office the next morning, and by evening, they were married in a sterile courthouse ceremony. No rings, no vows of love, just paperwork and awkward silence. As they stepped out into the sunlight, Alex felt a strange relief wash over him, mingled with guilt. He had used Jake, a man already broken by the world, to prop up his own crumbling life. Little did he know, this union would unearth secrets that threatened to destroy them both. The first weeks were a tense dance of pretense. Alex moved Jake into his sprawling Manhattan penthouse, a glass-walled fortress overlooking Central Park. Jake wandered the rooms like a ghost, touching marble countertops and silk sheets with disbelief. "This is temporary," he reminded himself, but the comfort gnawed at his resolve. Alex, buried in work, avoided deep conversations, but stolen glances revealed an attraction he couldn't deny. One evening, as they shared takeout on the balcony, Alex opened up slightly. "My father would roll in his grave if he knew," he said, staring at the city lights. Jake nodded, his own memories surfacing. "Mine too. He thinks people like us are abominations." Tension simmered beneath the surface. Alex's sister, Elena, dropped by unannounced, her sharp eyes narrowing at Jake's presence. "Who's this?" she demanded, her voice laced with suspicion. Alex introduced him as a friend in need. But Elena's skepticism lingered. She had always been the family's moral compass, loyal to their conservative roots, and Alex feared her discovery of the marriage. Meanwhile, Jake wrestled with his conscience. He hadn't told Alex about his real identity, fearing it would complicate things, or worse, expose him to his father's wrath. But as days turned to weeks, casual conversations deepened. They shared stories of lost dreams. Alex's passion for art stifled by business, Jake's love for writing buried under survival. One night, after a grueling board meeting where Alex fended off challenges to his leadership, he returned home to find Jake reading an old novel on the couch. "You look like hell," Jake said, offering a beer. Alex collapsed beside him, their shoulders brushing. For the first time he felt seen, not as the heir, but as a man weary of masks. "Why did you really agree to this?" Alex asked. Jake hesitated, then admitted, "Because I know what it's like to hide who you are. And maybe, I didn't want to be alone anymore." The air thickened with unspoken possibility, but Alex pulled back, reminding himself this was a transaction. Yet, the seed of genuine connection had been planted, and with it, the first cracks in their fragile alliance. As the marriage facade held, external pressures mounted. Rumors swirled in high society about Alex's mysterious companion, fueling gossip columns. Victor's old allies, sensing weakness, plotted to contest the will, arguing Alex's lifestyle dishonored the family legacy. Jake, meanwhile, spotted his father's face on a news broadcast, railing against a new equality bill. The sight triggered panic. What if Elias discovered his son's whereabouts? In a moment of vulnerability, Jake confided in Alex about his past abuse, omitting the senator's name. Alex listened, his heart aching, and for the first time, he reached out, their hands intertwining briefly. It was a small gesture, but it ignited a spark that neither could ignore. By the end of the first month, the sham felt less like a lie. They cooked meals together, laughed at bad movies, and shared silences that spoke volumes. But beneath it all, secrets festered. Alex received a cryptic email from an anonymous sender. "Your husband isn't who he says he is." Dismissing it as a prank, he deleted it, but doubt crept in. Jake, too, felt the weight. His father's influence loomed like a storm cloud. As they navigated this uneasy intimacy, the city pulsed around them, oblivious to the drama unfolding in the penthouse above. Little did they know, the real storm was just beginning. The anonymous emails escalated, each one a dagger twisting deeper into Alex's paranoia. "Ask him about his father," one read, followed by another. "He's using you to get back at his family." Alex confronted Jake that evening in the penthouse kitchen, the marble island a barrier between them. "Who are you really?" he demanded, his voice cracking with betrayal. Jake's face drained of color, but he deflected. "What are you talking about? This is me. Broken, but here." Alex wanted to believe him, but the seeds of doubt had taken root, watered by his own insecurities. Elena's suspicions grew into outright investigation. She hired a private detective, her loyalty to the family overriding any sibling bond. "Alex is hiding something," she told her husband over dinner in their Upper East Side townhouse. "That man isn't just a charity case." The detective uncovered Jake's true identity within days. Jacob Ellis, estranged son of Senator Elias Ellis. Elena burst into Alex's office the next morning, slamming the report on his desk. "You're married to the son of our father's biggest political rival? The man who lobbied against every progressive bill Victor supported? This is suicide." Alex's world tilted. Victor Harlan had been a moderate conservative, but his alliances with figures like Ellis had been pragmatic, built on shared disdain for social experiments like gay rights. Now, Alex's secret marriage linked him directly to that hypocrisy. He stormed home, finding Jake sketching in a notebook, a habit from his writing days. "Jacob Ellis," Alex spat, watching Jake flinch. "You lied to me." Jake's eyes filled with tears, but he stood his ground. "I didn't lie, I omitted." My father threw me out when he found out I'm gay. I changed my name to survive. What was I supposed to say? Hey, marry me? But watch out for Daddy's wrath. The argument exploded into a raw dissection of their lives. Alex accused Jake of opportunism, of using the marriage as revenge against his father. Jake countered that Alex had treated him like a pawn from the start. You proposed to a stranger on the street. What does that say about you? Hours later, exhausted, they collapsed into silence. Alex realized his anger masked fear, not of Jake's past, but of his own feelings. He had fallen for this man, sham or not. Jake, too, admitted the truth. I stayed because I started caring. But if you want me gone, I'll go. They didn't part that night. Instead, a fragile truce formed, born of mutual vulnerability. Alex shared his own story, coming out to his mother years ago, only for her to beg him to stay closeted for the family's sake. She died protecting my secret, he whispered. Jake held him, the first real embrace, charged with emotion but devoid of expectation. Yet the external world intruded. Senator Ellis, tipped off by a leaked courthouse record, exploded in a private tirade. My son's married to that Harlan scum? I'll bury them both. He mobilized his network, feeding stories to the press about Alex's unstable lifestyle, threatening Harlan Tech's stability. Board members called an emergency meeting. Alex faced them in the glass-walled conference room, Jake's absence a ghost at his side. Personal matters don't affect business, he argued, but whispers of scandal eroded his authority. One ally pulled him aside. Divorce him quietly, Alex. Save the company. Back home, Jake packed a bag, ready to leave. I won't be the reason you lose everything. Alex stopped him at the door. Don't. We'll fight this together. It was a turning point, their first joint decision, but it came at a cost. Alex's reputation began to fray. Social circles buzzed with judgment. At a charity gala, Alex and Jake appeared together for the first time, hands clasped defiantly. Whispers followed. Harlan's gone off the rails. Elena cornered them in a hallway. This isn't just about you, Alex. Think of the family name. Jake interjected, his voice steady. Family isn't blood. It's choice. And I choose him. Elena stormed off, but her words lingered, amplifying Alex's inner conflict. Was he sacrificing his legacy for a love that started as a lie? Meanwhile, Jake grappled with his own demons. He received a call from an old friend, warning that his father was digging into Alex's past, seeking dirt to discredit him. Elias wants to expose you both. Jake debated confronting his father, the man who had once beaten him down with words sharper than fists. In a moment of resolve, he drove to D.C., heart pounding. The senator's office was a bastion of power, lined with photos of traditional families. Elias sneered upon seeing him. Come to beg for forgiveness? Jake stood tall. No. To tell you to back off. I'm happy. Something you never allowed. Elias laughed bitterly. Happy with that deviant? You'll regret this. The encounter left Jake shaken, but empowered. Returning to New York, he found Alex waiting, worry etched on his face. I faced him, Jake said. For us. Their bond deepened that night, conversations turning to dreams of a real future. But the price was mounting. Harlan Tech stock dipped amid rumors, and Elena threatened to side with the board against Alex. As tensions escalated, a betrayal loomed. Elena's detective uncovered more than Jake's identity. He found evidence of Alex's past affairs, ammunition for a public smear. The storm was no longer brewing. It had arrived. The smear campaign hit like a thunderclap. Tabloids splashed headlines. Harlan heirs secret gay marriage rocks tech empire. Photos of Alex and Jake at the gala circulated, twisted into salacious narratives. Senator Ellis fueled the fire from behind the scenes, leaking details to conservative outlets that painted Alex as unfit to lead. This is what happens when we abandon values, Elias thundered in a speech, his eyes cold with personal vendetta. Alex watched his company's value plummet, investors fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. In the penthouse, chaos reigned. Alex paced, Phone glued to his ear, barking at PR teams. Spin this. Make it about love conquering adversity. But inside, doubt gnawed. Had his impulsive proposal doomed them all? Jake, feeling responsible, offered to annul the marriage. I can disappear again. Save yourself. Alex whirled on him. And what? Go back to pretending? No, we're in this. Their argument dissolved into a heated embrace, not of passion, but solidarity. A silent vow to endure. Elena's betrayal cut deepest. She called a family meeting, inviting distant relatives and board allies to the Harlan estate in the Hamptons. Alex arrived with Jake, the ocean's roar mirroring his turmoil. Elena presented her case like a prosecutor. Alex's choices endanger our legacy. Father would never approve. Relatives nodded, murmuring about tradition and stability. Jake, silent until then, spoke up. Your father built an empire on innovation, not bigotry. Alex is honoring that by being true to himself.
Elena's face twisted.
You don't belong here. The room erupted, alliances fracturing. Alex defended Jake fiercely, but walked out feeling the sting of isolation. His sister, once his confidant, now an adversary. The fallout rippled outward. Friends distanced themselves, invitations dried up. Alex's inner circle shrank to Jake and a few loyal employees. One night, as they lay awake, Jake confessed his deepest fear. What if loving you costs me my soul? I've hidden so long, and now the world sees me as a scandal. Alex pulled him close. Then we'll rebuild together. But words couldn't mask the toll. Jake's nightmares returned, echoes of his father's rejection. Alex, too, questioned his path. Was authenticity worth the ruin? Senator Ellis escalated, filing a lawsuit claiming Jake's marriage was fraudulent, aimed at undermining Harlan Tech's government contracts. My son was coerced, he lied to the press. Jake, outraged, agreed to a public interview. On a national news show, he bared his soul. My father disowned me for being gay. This marriage started as convenience, but became real. Love isn't a fraud. The broadcast went viral, splitting public opinion. Supporters rallied with Love Wins Harlan, while critics decried it as a publicity stunt. Alex watched from home, pride swelling amid anxiety. You were brave, he said, kissing Jake's forehead. A gesture laden with unspoken affection. But bravery invited backlash. Protesters gathered outside Harlan Tech's headquarters, some waving signs of hate, others of support. Alex addressed the employees in a town hall. My personal life doesn't define my leadership. We're stronger together. Cheers erupted, but not unanimously. Some resigned, citing moral conflicts. The board convened again, voting on Alex's removal. He narrowly survived, thanks to a swing vote from an old friend of Victor's who whispered, Your father was wrong about a lot. Relief was short-lived. Elena leaked Alex's past to the press, exposing old relationships. Harlan's double life, the headlines screamed. Jake felt the weight of complicity. This is my fault, he told Alex over dinner. The city skyline mocking their turmoil. Alex shook his head. No, it's ours for not facing truth sooner. They decided to fight back legally, suing Ellis for defamation. The courtroom became a battleground of ideologies. Family versus freedom, tradition versus progress. Witnesses testified, Jake's old friends recounting his disownment, Alex's colleagues praising his vision. Ellis took the stand, his testimony a venomous rant. I raised a son, not this. Jake met his gaze unyielding. You raised a man who learned to love despite you. The trial dragged on, each day chipping at their resilience. Alex lost weight. Jake withdrew into writing, chronicling their story as therapy. One evening, after a grueling cross-examination, Alex broke down. What if we lose everything? Jake held him. We have each other. That's not nothing. Their connection, forged in fire, grew unbreakable, but the cost was evident. Strained silences, sleepless nights. Society's judgment amplified internal struggles. Alex pondered if his father's will was a curse, Jake if reconciliation was impossible. As the verdict loomed, a twist emerged. Elena, witnessing the trial's toll, had a change of heart. She visited the penthouse unannounced. "I was wrong," she admitted, tears streaming. "Father's world is dying. Yours is the future." Her apology mended one rift, but others gaped wide. With her support, Alex rallied the board, proposing reforms. Inclusive policies, diversity initiatives. The company stabilized, but scars remained. The trial's end brought partial victory, defamation proven, but damages minimal. Ellis retreated, defeated but unrepentant. For Alex and Jake, it was a Pyrrhic win, their love tempered by loss. Yet, as they stood on the balcony, hands entwined, hope flickered. The worst was behind them, or so they thought. Victory's aftertaste was bitter. Though the lawsuit silenced Senator Ellis publicly, private vendettas simmered. Anonymous threats arrived. Letters, calls, digital harassment. "Freaks don't deserve happiness," one read. Alex beefed up security, but paranoia infiltrated their home. Jake, once street-smart, now jumped at shadows. "This is the price," he murmured one night, staring at the ceiling. Alex nodded, but inside, resentment brewed. Not at Jake, but at a world that punished authenticity. Elena's reconciliation brought tentative family healing. She hosted a dinner at the estate. Relatives gathered warily. "We've all made mistakes," she toasted. Alex and Jake sat side by side, fields of tension easing into cautious laughter. But not all forgave. An uncle muttered slurs under his breath, reminding them acceptance was fragile. Jake excused himself, stepping onto the veranda. Alex followed. "You okay?" Jake sighed. "It's never enough, is it? We win battles, but the war rages." Their kiss under the stars was defiant, a reclaiming of space. Back in the city, Harlan Tech rebounded under Alex's reforms. Stock rose, new contracts poured in from progressive allies, but success invited scrutiny. A whistleblower emerged, claiming Alex had falsified marriage documents to secure the inheritance. The accusation, traced to Ellis's camp, sparked an internal investigation. Alex faced the board again, evidence in hand. "This is retaliation," he argued. Jake testified voluntarily. "Our marriage evolved from necessity to truth." The board cleared him, but trust eroded further. Personal tolls mounted. Jake's writing, once cathartic, stalled under pressure. He confided in Alex, "I feel like a fraud, homeless to husband, but still lost." Alex, overwhelmed by leadership demands, snapped more often. One fight escalated. "You think you're the only one suffering?" Alex yelled. Jake retorted, "You dragged me into your world." Hurt words hung heavy, leading to a night apart. Jake on the couch, Alex in the guest room. Morning brought apologies, but fractures lingered. Society's divide amplified their isolation. Invitations to LGBTQ events arrived, positioning them as symbols. At a pride gala, they were celebrated, but Jake felt tokenized. "We're not heroes, just survivors," he told Alex backstage. A reporter probed, "Was it worth it?" Alex answered firmly, "Yes," but privately doubts crept. What if his father's will had forced a path of destruction? Jake, too, wrestled with morality. Had he betrayed his principles by marrying for money? A pivotal confrontation arose when Ellis requested a meeting. Jake agreed, Alex by his side, in a neutral DC cafe. Ellis looked aged, defeat in his posture. "I want peace," he said. Jake scoffed. "After everything?" Ellis admitted partial regret. "I was wrong to disown you, but your choices." Alex interjected, "Our choices are love." The talk ended in stalemate, Ellis offering conditional reconciliation, if Jake divorced. "Never," Jake declared. Driving back, silence reigned until Jake spoke. "That was closure. He's not my family, you are." Emboldened, they planned a vow renewal, a public affirmation. Invitations went out, media buzzed. But sabotage struck. The venue canceled, citing controversy. Undeterred, they hosted it in Central Park, simple and sincere. Vows exchanged. Through lies and truths, I choose you.
Guests quered, Elena Bamin.
Yet, a protester infiltrated, shouting slurs. Security escorted him out, but the incident shook them. Is this our life now? Jake asked later. Alex held him. We'll make it ours. As months passed, equilibrium returned, but changed. Alex delegated more at work, prioritizing time with Jake. They traveled, escaping scrutiny. Hiking in the Rockies, where nature stripped pretenses. Remember the rain? Alex mused by a campfire. Jake smiled. How could I forget? Best-worst decision. Laughter healed, but memories of pain sharpened appreciation. Elena's full alliance proved invaluable. She spearheaded a foundation for LGBTQ youth, naming it after their mother. This is our legacy, she told Alex. Jake contributed anonymously, his writing published under a pseudonym, a novel drawing from their saga, sparking debates on identity and forgiveness. Reviews praised its raw honesty, but critics accused sensationalism. Jake shrugged. Truth hurts. Yet not all wounds closed. A final blow came when an old flame of Alex's surfaced, claiming emotional abandonment. Tabloids twisted it into infidelity rumors. Jake confronted Alex. Is there truth here? Alex admitted past mistakes. Before you, I was lost. Trust tested, they navigated therapy, unpacking layers of trauma. Sessions revealed Jake's abandonment issues, Alex's perfectionism. We're works in progress, the therapist said. Emerging stronger, they recommitted not to perfection but perseverance. As the year anniversary approached, reflection set in. The empire stood firm, but transformed, more inclusive, resilient. Jake no longer felt like an outsider. Alex embraced his identity openly. But the journey's cost. Lost allies, scarred psyches, questioned morals. In quiet moments, they pondered the ethics. Was their union a moral victory or a series of compromises? The world moved on, but their story lingered, a testament to love's turbulent path. The anniversary dawned crisp in New York, the city awakening to their story's echo. Alex and Jake walked hand in hand through Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot, a far cry from that rainy proposal. 1 year, Alex marveled. Jake squeezed his hand. Feels like a lifetime. They had survived scandals, betrayals, and self-doubt, emerging not unscathed, but unbreakable. Yet, lingering questions haunted. Had their choices been right, or merely necessary? Harlan Tech thrived under inclusive leadership, profits soaring with ethical AI initiatives. Alex's reforms inspired industry shifts, earning accolades from unlikely quarters. Even conservative holdouts grudgingly adapted, the tide of progress inexorable. Elena, now a staunch ally, co-led the foundation, aiding countless youth like Jake once was. You've changed us all, she told Alex at a family gathering, where relatives toasted tentatively to new beginnings. Jake's novel became a bestseller, sparking national discourse on family, identity, and forgiveness. Interviews flooded in. He spoke candidly. Love demands sacrifice, but so does hate. Choose wisely. Critics debated its authenticity. Was it exploitation or enlightenment? Jake didn't care. Writing had reclaimed his voice, lost on the streets. With royalties, he funded shelters, giving back anonymously. Paying it forward, he told Alex, who beamed with pride. Senator Ellis faded from prominence, his career tarnished by backlash. Whispers of hypocrisy dogged him, disowning a gay son while preaching morals. He reached out once more, a letter. I see now, perhaps too late. Jake burned it, no reply needed. Some bridges stay ashes, he said. Alex nodded, understanding the finality of certain pains. Their relationship evolved into quiet depth. Mornings began with coffee and conversation, evenings with walks or reading aloud. Intimacy was emotional, built on trust forged in fire. Arguments arose, over work-life balance, past shadows, but resolved with empathy. We're not perfect, Alex admitted during one. Jake smiled. Who is? That's the beauty. Society's gaze softened. They became reluctant icons. At events, young couples approached. You gave us hope. Jake reflected on the irony. A homeless man turned beacon. But fame's double-edged cut. Privacy invaded, judgments persistent. Worth it? Alex asked one night. Jake pondered. For us, yes. For others, debatable. A final trial emerged when a board faction, loyal to Victor's era, attempted a coup. Harlan Tech was built on tradition, they argued. Alex countered in the meeting. Tradition evolves or dies. With Elena's backing and employee support, he prevailed, but resigned a directorial role for balance. Time for us, he told Jake. They bought a brownstone in Brooklyn, escaping the penthouse's ghosts, a symbol of fresh starts. In this new home, they hosted friends, built community. Jake mentored writers, Alex volunteered at LGBTQ centers. Fulfillment bloomed, but scars reminded. Alex's occasional panic attacks, Jake's wariness of crowds. Therapy continued, a lifeline. Healing isn't linear, their counselor noted. They agreed, embracing the messiness. As seasons turned, reflection deepened. Had Alex's proposal been a moral lapse, using Jake as a tool? Or a catalyst for truth? Jake wondered if staying was self-betrayal or empowerment. Their story, rich with drama, forced confrontations. With family prejudices, societal norms, personal ethics. Choices led to losses. Alliances severed, innocences shattered, but gains. Love, authenticity, impact. One evening, watching the sunset from their stoop, Alex turned to Jake. If we could redo it. Jake interrupted. I wouldn't. This is us. They kissed, the city humming approval. Yet, the narrative's complexity lingered, inviting scrutiny. Was their union a triumph of love over adversity, or a cautionary tale of the costs incurred?